welcome to this new video on my channel. My name is Matty's from the Matt channel, and today we're going to be looking over a tier list video. First one I've really done publicly on a YouTube channel before, and to do this with me, my guest today is Doug from the Dugout Football channel.
Yeah, pleasure to be on, Matt. Thank you very much for having me, and I'm looking forward to this. Thank you.
So right, let's get into this and start with the hosts. So I'm gonna do this these teams in order of when they qualified, and the rest I've done from when I think they might qualify. But let's start with the hosts. So far, only one of all the tournaments of the host countries have failed to get through. Qatar is going to look to be one of the teams that have got to the knockout stage. Where do you see their chances?
Much about Qatar. However, from looking at some of their results, they've had a pretty good wee run. I think they drew like Republic of Ireland. They lost to Portugal as well. I think they could potentially reach the round of 16, but I think it's going to be very difficult. But home crowd, you never know. So I'm going to say that they will maybe could reach the round of 16, but I think it's going to be very tricky. But I am going to say they could reach the round of 16.
Well, I think what we can say for Qatar is they're at least better than all the Asian Arab nations, except for Saudi Arabia under Hervé Renard, who have been very. Well, I think what we can say for Qatar is they're at least better than all the Asian Arab nations, except for Saudi Arabia under Hervé Renard, who have been very good lately. But in the Arab Cup, they've beat Bahrain, Oman, and Iraq, and they even got a 5-0 win to the UAE, which a number of people are optimistic in them maybe reaching the tournament. So, and then Qatar also have made the semi-finals of the CONCACAF Gold Cup, and being in pot one will help as well. They'll probably want to avoid Denmark, Germany, and the Netherlands, but I think we know they're going to get at least one hard team from here. But it does depend on how strong their group is. But for me, I would put them into the round of 16. And it sounds like we're both in agreement onto that. Up next, we've got Germany. First team to qualify. Massive revitalization under Hansi Flick. You watch a lot of Bundesliga football. What can you say about Germany?
Now, and it is a lot of young players. So I think Hansi Flick has a very good chance with Germany. I'm going to say it straight off the bat. I think they're one of the contenders for the World Cup.
Yeah, I'm looking at that as well. Obviously, the last World Cup was not ideal. They were a bit better in Euro 2020, but they were still a bit all over the place, and they had some good signs in the Nations League, and apart from the North Macedonia defeat, I think there was still some good things under Joachim Löw, but wasn't working that great to where Germany wanted to be. But when Hansi Flick came in, things have looked very good, and I've got them up there. Not quite as my first, but definitely within a shout to do something.
Yeah.
And now Denmark certainly have been rising. And I think they could be one of the teams that could knock out a big nation, but could they get it close to actually winning? That seems a bit of a tall order. I'm looking at putting them in the semi-final section. What do you think?
I think the thing with Denmark is I think everyone saw their story during the Euros, and obviously with what happened to Christian Eriksen, I think after Kasper Hjulmand, I think he's a very, very good manager, and he's obviously stuck by the Denmark national side. This team is one of the most underrated countries, I think, at this World Cup, and I honestly can see. I don't think they're good enough to make a final, but I think they're good enough to have a good wee run at it. I would say probably. I'll say it depends. It really depends on who they get, I suppose, in their World Cup group. For me, I think they could reach quarterfinals. I'm not sure they're good enough to make the semis, unfortunately, but you never know. But for me, I think they could reach the quarterfinals.
I suppose if you think they might struggle to maybe top a group that could feature somebody like Argentina or France, for example, then I wouldn't be surprised if maybe you thought losing in the round of 16 could be a possibility. I mean, I was looking at semi-finals, but I guess quarterfinals is also something I would consider, and sort of a fairly balanced way to put place to put Denmark in, but they should definitely upgrade from the last World Cup up to Brazil next. Brazil, they look quite far and away above most of the South American competition, and that is saying something because it does tend to be a mess in the omniball qualifying section, but Brazil seem to be over the right side of that. I'm not sure if I would prioritize them to win it, but I've got them about just above Germany, and I put them into a contender for the World Cup. What do you think?
Um, hmm. I look at Brazil, and it's one of two ways. They can either be contenders or they could potentially be semi-finalists. Um, I'm going to put them in contenders because I like the way Brazil are playing. I think the team that they've got is again full of young players coming through, as well. Got a bit of experience as well. So yeah, I think Brazil are one of the contenders. I wouldn't put them ahead of Germany because I think Germany for me are a very, very good side, but this Brazil team will go far, and I do think they are one of the main contenders. So yeah, I would agree with you on that one.
On to France. Now, obviously they've got one of the best squads in the world. I do think Inca France could be a strong contender. Um, Benzema is a strong addition from the last World Cup, even though Giroud, who'd serviced the squad very well. And what I do see from a lot of people is that France should go at the group stage because of the Champions Curse, but I think there needs to be a good reason for France to go out in the group stage for to really say that. So, and if you do look to at least the past three champions that have exited the group stage, with Italy in 2010, their squad had a number of average players, and and even in the first game, Buffon got injured. and I don't think Italy were really at their best coming into this group stage, although they should have done better. And then with Germany, they had a number of friendly games that they weren't getting results out of. Also, there was problems inside the camp. Spain is probably a bit more of a is probably perhaps a better example, but even then, you could just say that they were amongst a couple of good teams. I think you could, and if you want to use logic, you could even say France started the curse, and they're going to be here to end it. So I think, but assessing the France squad on the here and now, I do think they've got out a lot of troubles from the squad in from Euro 2016, 2020, sorry, and was a bit of a wake up call. And how do they respond? They win the Nations League. I do actually have France as a strong contender to win this. What say you, Doug?
As you said, France sort of started that curse of going out of the group stage. Obviously, 2002, South Korea, they fell at the group stage. But I think they've got enough in their squad to win games. It's just if they can go further on after that. I mean, it's a very, very hard World Cup is very, very hard to defend as well. But for me, I just look at this. Obviously, I know that obviously I think that I would probably say at this moment in time, I do think they're a contender. However, I'm not so sure that they can go towards like the final or I I'm in a bit of a dilemma here. I want to put them. I want to put them contenders, of course I do. But then I want to put them semi-finalists. I think they will make the latter stages of the World Cup, but maybe finish like maybe a third or fourth. So I'm going to say semi-finals.
Okay. Well, I've got them either one or two, somewhere with two. So I'm going to put them right up here in the top tier. And now we go on to Belgium, where they're going to less expected of them compared to in Euro 2016. But I don't think they're going to exit so early either. They've got a fair amount of attacking talent, one of the best goalkeepers in the world. What are your thoughts on Belgium?
I think they're one of the most overrated countries ever. I'm sorry. I just don't get Roberto Martinez's style of management. And I just think this sort of, golden generation for me, I think they flopped as a country. How they're number one is remarkable for me. So I don't think they're going to win it. I don't see them getting to the semis. I think they will reach the quarterfinals and then they'll exit there.
Yeah. I have around semi-finals, but certainly not a breaker for into the final. I think maybe quarterfinals is about right, given I made the call that on the last one about France.
Yeah.
And on to Croatia now. Certainly not doesn't have the presence of Mandzukic, Rakitic, and they've still got a good midfield and a good attack. They do look like they might manage to sneak into pot two. So, what do you think?
I I'm going to say that because of like a lack of striker, their squad is very, very aging. I'm going to say that they'll make the round of 16. I don't think they're going to go any further after that. I'm going to say round of 16.
Okay, I mean, Horviziak's, I think, certainly can't even be far. I said the same for Serbia. I think either quarterfinals or round of 16. Did say I think Croatia are a better chance of going further than Serbia, but maybe that could be down more to the draw itself. Is Amaric a good enough option to get the goals? Maybe, but it could be a tool or to finish first, unless it's to Qatar, and chances are they might get a hard round of 16 opponents. So yeah, I'd be happy to have them into round of 16. Now on to Spain. What do you think of them?
I would say that they're probably maybe one of the contenders, but actually, me thinking, I think they'll get to the semis and then maybe fall at the final hurdle. I'm going to say semis.
Yeah, I think with Spain, they've got, in general, kind of an average squad, which are like elevated by a great manager. And you certainly did help them reach a semi-final in the Euros. There are, I do say squad, not the whole team, because there's certainly a good number of players. Pedri, Gavi. If Ansu Fati can get in, then him as well. I think I don't think going to be as good as teams here, but I think they can still do a serviceable performance. I do also have them in semi-finals, so it does sound like great minds think alike, and that's Spain right into the semi-finals. And up next, we go to Serbia. Now, it's a team that could do some damage in the group stage, could also, I think they do have a good chance of getting, they'll probably will get past the group stage, providing they don't play in a group like Argentina and Germany, for example. I think they certainly have improved. I found from Michael Talks Football that what's been the difference between getting to the World Cup and getting to the Euros is having a good manager. So that certainly will help here. So I'm thinking round of 16. What do you think, Doug?
Tricky one with Serbia. I agree with you. I think they'll reach around the 16. I don't think they'll reach the quarters, but for me, I think probably round to 16 is probably where they're going to finish for me.
Yeah, defensively, I think they look better than Croatia, but and they've certainly probably have the best strikers too. But I think it's not. I probably wouldn't necessarily fancy Serbia's chances to have a great run, despite what a number of Balkans will think. Now the big red London bus pulls in to Qatar, and we go to England. Now I'll let you go first on this.
Semi-finals for me. I think they are definitely.
Okay.
Look, England have got a fantastic squad under Gareth Southgate. They really do. For me, though, I think it could be semi-finals again. I'm gonna say semi-finals.
Yeah, I think England, and they under Southgate, they've been getting better. There was a massive improvement from the last World Cup to Euro 2020 final, and I think things have looked positive after that. and certainly a number of players that came in that World Cup squad. It could be a make or break. I don't think they're going to finish any as low here. I'd say quarterfinal minimum. Semi-finals is a fair shout, but I do have a contender for the World Cup. Can't be sure how high it is, but I wouldn't quite put them above France.
Yeah.
But maybe I'd probably look at putting them above Germany or Brazil. So I think I'm going to be putting them into the contender for world section. But we'll certainly see from there. And up next, we've got Switzerland. This will be an interesting one. They achieved the goal that looking generally for a tournament, and that was to go beyond the round of 16. Many of these teams are also going to be wanting to break this target of getting into the round of 16. Serbia, even here, Japan, Mexico, maybe USA again as well. There's going to be a number of teams that are going to be looking to reach the quarterfinal stage as at least, and Switzerland are definitely going to be one of these teams. They've had a great 2021, and I'm looking at possibly even certainly semi-finals at best. I'm looking at one of these teams. These maybe more towards quarterfinals. What do you think?
Again, it all depends on what Switzerland getting the draw. For me, I'm gonna say reach round of 16. I think they did very well at the Euros. Don't get me wrong. I just feel Switzerland haven't really got an out and out striker like Severovic. I think he's probably coming to the end of his sort of spell with the Swiss national side. So for me, I think could reach around to 16 for me personally.
Okay, semi-finals could be a bit of a too much of a shot for Switzerland. Although I do fancy their chances more than, say, Croatia and Denmark, Croatia and Serbia. Sorry, not probably as much as Denmark, for example. But I think quarterfinals is probably probably somewhat about right, and they are certainly a much better squad than what they were before, and even then they were pretty good. I'm probably gonna go maybe quarterfinals. I'll put it at that. And now on to the Netherlands. They've been very good under Louis van Gaal. Saying either quarterfinals or semi-finals, leaning more towards semi-finals.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think they're quite a contender because obviously of their record of the World Cup recently. But yeah, I think if Holland make the semi-finals, I think they'll be very, very happy with that.
All right, I'm going to put them at semi-finals because they have been very good, but they probably don't have it in them to really get into that last stage. Now, Argentina. This is an interesting one because they've certainly have bridged the rest of South America in the qualifiers and even won last Copa America and possibly even a contender here. A lot of people are fancying their chances. I think I would put them after these four at the top. maybe little semi-finals. What do you think?
I think you're probably right in putting them semi-finals. I don't think they're good enough to win it, unfortunately. And all this, like Messi, it'll probably be one of his last tournaments anyway. So it could be make or break for him. I think it could be make or break for him, and I think he'll want to leave his legacy on trying to win a World Cup for Argentina. Unfortunately, I just don't think they've got a good enough squad, and I don't think they've got a good enough chance. So semi-finals for me, probably quarterfinals minimum, but I'm going to say semi-finals maximum.
Yeah, it seems about right. There may be in a shadow of doing something great in terms of getting to the final or winning it, but they've got some good individual players, and they'll most likely bring a great crowd that will help, but it probably doesn't seem like enough. On to Iran. I think out of all, probably got the best chance of beyond the round of 16. And I think getting to the road will be what will satisfy, because that's a barrier they're still trying to get over. But I think they could also get to the quarterfinals. Maybe leaning a bit towards quarterfinals, and they'll bring a great crowd. What do you think?
Um, I know they haven't got a particularly good record at World Cups. I can't even remember if they've qualified out of a group stage or anything like that. So, on that basis, I'm going to say group stage.
Oh, okay. Um, I'll put them into round of 16, because they could come up against two heavyweights. But I think also if you're maybe say Uruguay, it might not. Iran probably won't be one of your first choices to play against.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Iran. I think round of 16 might be about right, but I do think they can reach the quarterfinals as well. And now we go on to South Korea. What do you think of them, Doug?
I'm going to say quarterfinals for them. I think they've got a good squad, and I think
Oh, I did not
mainly,
see that coming.
yeah, I can see quarterfinals for them. I think because of like having Human Song, I think he's the main pivotal one, and obviously the Wolves striker Hwang, is it Hwang? I think if they get a good enough group, I think they could cause a wee surprise. Obviously, beating Germany in the 2018 World Cup was excellent. So yeah, I'm gonna say quarterfinals, but they will definitely make the round of 16, I think.
Whilst on Iran and South Korea, I've made a claim that both of these teams will go unbeaten in qualifier groups. To what extent do you agree with that?
Uh that's a fair enough bold shout. But I think out of those two, I think Korea will probably go further than Iran.
I think the quarterfinals might be a fair target for South Korea, but if they're in a group that would be difficult, then I think there could be with round of 16. Um, I was thinking some between round of 16 and group stage, and the fact it does look like they're going to go from pot four to pot three is definitely going to be helping as well. I think I'll put them in the round of 16,
Okay.
because I think could do something, but probably wouldn't put them much further than who they might play against, and probably fancy Iran's chances a bit more. And now let's keep the Asian. Go on to Saudi Arabia, who have probably been at the best, certainly in my lifetime. The UC with them is that they're probably going to be in a tough group.
Yeah.
Maybe they could get to the knockout stages, and that is going to be something that they'll want to get. But I think most likely it's going to be group stage. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I can't remember Saudi Arabia qualifying for a round of 16 in my lifetime, anyway.
Maybe it was US 94.
Yeah, possibly, but yeah, I just think at this moment in time, I think they'll make the group stage, and I think they'll sadly go out.
Now we go to Uruguay, who I think for sure we can expect them to be competent, and I think knockout with a question. I suppose I'd lean more towards quarterfinals, but they could easily come up against a better team and lose in the round of 16. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to say round of 16. I think apart from obviously the main ones, Suarez, Cavani, I don't think they've got a good enough squad, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm going to say round of 16 for Uruguay.
Yeah, I think that might be about right. On to Ecuador. Interestingly enough, they currently fairly, but as things stand, a pot 4 team facing potentially some harder will make things challenging to get to the last 16. It's possible, but I don't think they'll get anywhere near the quarterfinals. As good as they are, I'm thinking group stage, but then again,
Yeah,
I would say like South Korea. So maybe round of 16. What do you think?
I think group stage. I think Ecuador will sadly go as far as the group stage. I think being in pot 4, I think they'll always get a hard group. So yeah, for me, I think they're going to be group stage, unfortunately.
Now Canada, so they've been on the best form, but not too much to really say in terms. I think they're in them to get to the knockouts, so I'm thinking they should agree.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think if we're looking at both them and the USA, again, I don't think those two have got enough to make it past the group stage. So I think if we were to do it over both of those, I think both of them would probably go to the group stage, and then I don't think they'll go any further than that. But hopefully, I'm wrong for obviously my American and Canadian compatriots, of course. So, but no, for me, I think Canada are going to be group stage.
I think these next two do have a better chance of get going, maybe making a run, but more likely 16. Oh, in Mexico, I think they might get above USA in standings. They're going to want to get to here. Is it possible? Well, certainly what the groups and the brackets looks like, and we'll certainly see if luck is on their side or if they need to do something. They've certainly got some issues to sort out. Otherwise, at worst, they could not make it out. But I think they could be good enough to get here. But I'm
Yeah,
thinking round of 16 again, probably most likely.
yeah, I agree with you. I think they'll make the round of 16.
USA. I think being in pot 2 does help and by all means, they can certainly get to the semi-finals. But I don't think they're like better than Serbia, for example. And I think the teams below pot two will definitely say they want to face the USA. I could probably go to either one of these, maybe lean more towards round of 16, but you sound sure enough that you don't think they'll make it past the group stage. So let's put them into the group stage tier.
Yep, absolutely.
Got some good individuals, but we'll see if Berhalter really does hold them back. Now, Japan's an interesting one. Probably not as good as in 2018 and in the Asian Cup, but the way in terms of them getting through, they're going to quarterfinals. I think I would say round of 16, but I'll certainly take your thoughts into consideration first.
Yep, I'm absolutely in agreement with you. I think they'll make round of 16, and then I think they may come up against a bigger country that'll probably beat them. So yeah, I'm going to say round of 16.
So now we get on to the teams that will be playing on the 26th of December, and that's these three teams. We'll start with Nigeria. I think at their best, they can certainly get into this last 16. The only issue I see is that they're likely to have a group that's a bit above their level. And maybe last year, last World Cup, they had a better shot of going through. I think it would take getting into that last 16, and I think unfortunately for Nigeria and one of my best friends, I'd have to put it in them into the group stage.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. As much as they've had a good squad at the Africa Cup of Nations, I don't think it's as strong as many people think. And I think the thing with me is for Nigeria, they played really, really well through the group stage, and then they completely froze against Tunisia. So yeah, I think if they get a really hard group, I don't see them getting out of it.
Yeah. Now how we get onto the teams that, not all of them here, but on the ones where we're a bit divided, what we'll do is I'll let you have the say for teams you think that you think will qualify, and same for some. The Mali and Tunisia. Let's start with Mali. I'm going to let you have the say on this, but all I will say is I'm not too fussed who goes through, because I don't think either of these teams are particularly up there as one of the best five in Africa. But let's start with your thoughts on Mali.
I am saying Mali will beat Tunisia, so I think Mali will make it, but I think they'll get the group stage. I don't see them getting any further after that.
And on to Tunisia. I don't particularly chances. Having Ingham, Sassy, and a new coach will probably be a boost. But for being Mali, I think it'll probably come down to like one goal. Oh, and it depends what Mali team show up as well. But as for Tunisia in the tournament, I don't think they're even better than Qatar, for example.
No.
Tunisia are going to be one of the teams, should they get there, that Qatar will be looking at in terms of trying to get into the next round. And I just don't think they're good enough. I'm going to just put them into the group stage. And now Egypt. what do you have for them? It does look like they're going to be a pot 4 team, but can getting to the final maybe help them get into the knockouts? What do you think?
I mean, if I look at this game between Egypt and Senegal, I think Senegal have the better squad, and I think they've got the better chance. So I don't think Egypt make it. If Egypt do make it, then it'll be group stage. If Senegal make it, I expect Senegal to have a good wee run. I would say round of 16, and then they'll probably go out after that.
So, do you think Senegal will finish above Egypt?
Yep.
In this case, I don't need then. So let's go straight to Senegal then. I think around a steam, they've got a chance of being pot 2 team. Winning the Africa Cup of Nations has helped as well. They've got a good squad, and they'll certainly be one of the best of the pot 3 teams. And I think my perception might have changed a bit on them, that they can get wins without necessarily trying to play well. I'm thinking round of 16, and it does sound like you agree. So let's put them there. And now we've got Cameroon, Algeria. I think you said Cameroon will get there. So where do you think they'll be in the tournament?
I would say group stage. I don't think they're good enough to get past it, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, I think I'll talk more about this in my predictions for the upcoming games, but I think Algeria will play better in Yaoundé than Douala, which was one of their setbacks. But where do I think they can? And before the AFCON, I had quite high hopes for them to do well in this tournament, provided got there, and maybe also quarterfinals as well. But I think one of the problems is going to be not bringing what is their best goal scorer, Andy Delort, over moral reasons. I do think they can get out the group, but the performances are maybe something to look at, and Slimani is kind of slowing down his goal scoring form as well. So not having the prolific striker would be kind of why I would hold back going to quarterfinals, and maybe the group stage is also a problem as well. And having said that, because they've had a fall for a race and they're going to be in pot 4, then I think I'd probably have to put them in group stage. But they've got a fair chance. The likely of playing a hard team and not having what you'd say would be their best goal scorer is the concern. We go on. Let's look at some of the European teams next who will be playing on the days. As Cameroon, and Algeria, and Senegal too. On to Wales. Now, this is the team I think will get to that fairly close. So I'll say why I think Wales next month, but they're ranked fairly highly, and they probably are gonna away from that pot 4 place. Well, I do think they are the weakest teams in pot 3, so I will just put them in the group stage. And now we go to Scotland, and I'll let you have full say on this given to get to this?
Yeah, I'm gonna say that we'll make the group stage if we get there. Look, it would be just fantastic to make a national tournament again. But for me, I think group stage is probably the best that we can hope for, in all honesty.
Now on to Poland. You've had to get here. I'll let you have the say. It's a pretty toss of the coin for me of who goes through out of Poland and Sweden. I've got it going to penalties, and even Sweden, for example, I've got them beating Czech Republic over extra time.
I'll say the group stage for me. Yeah, I think apart from Lewandowski, I think Poland are a little bit of a country that will probably do badly. So yeah, I'm going to say group stage.
Okay. It is likely there'll be a pot-free team, which will help their chances, but it doesn't sound like that will influence much. And now for Sweden, again, they're going to be seen as maybe a high team in terms of rank, not necessarily in quality of pot-free. Certainly does depend on the group. Looking at either group stage or round of 16, but certainly not going to replicate what they did in 2018.
No, I think round of 16 is probably their best bet.
And even I did a video recently on a World Cup draw, and I had them with Qatar, Croatia, and Algeria. And even without that big hitter team, I wondered, can they do it? I'm going to very, very mildly put them into round of 16, but I could easily put them back into group stage at any point. But I would say they're around Senegal's level and maybe even better than Japan. So I'll put them in round of 16. And now for Italy, with both of them to get here, I don't think they're going to be the heavy hitter like they were to the last in the Euro 2020. They should be better than probably at least half the competition. I'm thinking quarterfinals. What do you think?
Italy. I am going to say that Italy. Don't write this Italy team off. I'm going to say semi-finals.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go either way. So no, semi-finals. And they could get an easy team. And now for Morocco, they've had a brilliant 2021. It looks like they're going to be a pot-free team. I mean, I do keep track of this stuff for whenever I want to do some kind of mock tournaments, like in private. But I think they're not going to be a favourite in their group. They're going to face at least one hard opponent. I certainly don't think they'll top up their group, but I think round of 16 is not far off the horizon, but I think they've got a bigger chance of the group. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to say group stage. Again, I think Morocco are a very good side, but as you say, they're going to face a very, very tricky group. So I don't see them getting through. So I'm going to say group stage.
So now we're in a position where will have the say on our South American countries. We think will get above probably Australia or whoever you have as the team representing Asia in the intercontinental playoff qualifiers. I'll start with Peru. It does look like these intercontinental playoff teams will be in pot four because their air games aren't going to be played until after the draw, and most of the teams in there are pot four standard. So you could even see something like Colombia in that, like if Colombia were good, for example, you could send in pot four, for example. But Peru, not a bad team, but I think maybe not. I don't think they'll necessarily finish fourth, for example, but I think group stage seems about right. And what do you have for Chile? What you just out of
Uh,
curiosity, how well do you think they'll do against Brazil?
yeah, I think if Chile make it, it'll be group stage for them. I'm gonna say group stage. I don't think they're quite the Chile team that was a few years ago. So for me, I think group stage.
I did towards the more of the beginning stage. I did have Chile getting into this World Cup stage, and I think I even had them in like fourth place. But they have disappointed me a bit. Before I go on to the next one, do you think Panama will get there?
No, not for me.
In which case, I'll move them to the side, like I did Egypt. So Costa Rica up next. I think group stage is going to be either right if they get there.
Yeah, I agree.
If they feel a long way off even getting there, and that's going to be another one of the teams that Qatar are going to be looking at hoping at getting. They've got a world class keeper, but and some players that can take them over the CONCACAF line, but I just don't think they're going to be good enough in this actual tournament.
No, I agree.
And New Zealand, it's not New Zealand aren't a team I think will get there, but I do think they have against Costa Rica or Panama. But even if they do get there, I think we're all going to be agreed that the group stage is going to be the right option. So there we have it. There's our tier list. Our combined tier list, in fact. If you are bothered to write in the comments how much do you agree with and what would your tier list be? Seems fairly accurate what us would do individually, barring a few changes. But that looks like we've come to the end. And of course, upcoming is going to be a World Cup qualifiers, the grudge stage for a lot of these teams, and also getting this video out before a lot of these guys videos around that stage. Each going to help as well. Any final thoughts, Ergen? If not, where can people that aren't aware of you find you?
Well, thank you very much for having me. I've really enjoyed that, and yeah, we'll obviously see who qualifies soon. You can find me on YouTube at the Dugout Football Channel. That is my Twitter handle, Enrond_1992. Instagram is Douglas.Horn, and my Facebook is Douglas James Horn.
Fantastic. You can find my ID, socials and YouTube channel in the description, as you can with Douglas. And that's been our tier list. That's been our thoughts overall. What do you think? As I asked earlier, let us know. And our road to 2022 is getting very much closer.